Making honey is a complex process and we've got a lot to thank bees for. Worker bees spend their days collecting and eating nectar from flowers. They use some as an energy source, but most of it ends up in their special nectar stomach, and when full, the worker bee heads back to the hive. There, they find a processor bee, whose job it is to stay in the hive and digest the nectar. The worker bee regurgitates the nectar into the processor bee's mouth, and after a few more minutes of breaking down the carbohydrates via enzymes, the honey is deposited in the comb. The processor bees then fan the honeycomb with their wings, reducing the water content from 70 to about 17%, and then secretes beeswax to seal the honey in the comb. It's said that honey never goes off. For one reason, there's not enough water in honey for the microorganisms to thrive. Any bacteria that comes into contact with honey gets all of the water sucked out of them, and bacteria need a certain amount of water to survive. However, some bacteria can lie dormant, which is why honey shouldn't be given to babies. When bees make honey, they secrete invertase, an enzyme which breaks bigger sugars into smaller ones, and glucose oxidase, which forms two different compounds. It converts glucose to hydrogen peroxide and gluconodelta-lactone. Gluconodelta-lactone is a food additive with the E number 575. As an additive, it prolongs a food's shelf life, but it's found naturally in honey and hydrolyzes in water to form gluconic acid, which gives a sharp taste and a pH of somewhere between 3 and 4. You can create this at home. If you make caramel, you can add a small amount of lemon juice to your sugar solution, and it will break down the sucrose into the smaller sugars, which will prevent crystallization, and your caramel won't be grainy. Have a look at the video Sugar Rush for more information. Honey generally contains 30 to 44% fructose and 25 to 40% glucose and is a supersaturated solution. This means it contains more sugar than would usually be possible to dissolve at a certain temperature. The relative amounts of these sugars present will determine if the honey will crystallise, and therefore if your honey is set or runny. And the concentration of glucose in particular is important. It's the glucose that crystallises, as that has a lower solubility. Nectar collected from rapeseed, those fields of yellow you see in late spring, crystallise very quickly due to the high glucose concentration. So beekeepers have to work quickly to extract this from the combs. That's why older jars of honey start to crystallise, as the glucose precipitates out of the solution. And once this process starts, the crystals act as nucleation sites, forming larger crystals, like how rain's formed in clouds. Pollen grains or pieces of beeswax speed this process up too. Honey is the only food produced by insects that doesn't have to be processed first, and that's all thanks to chemistry. For more edible experiments and the chemistry behind certain foods, check out my other videos and demo sheets.